Hey guys, Steve here with the strategy session for July 7th, 2014. We had a kind of a sideways day in the market. It was down a little bit lower this morning. Kind of rallied back towards the end of the day, finished a little lower. Nothing to be too concerned about. Basically on the weekly chart of the S&P, these are the E-minis, the S&P futures. We're just grinding higher. This uptrend's been intact since the late 2012. It's still intact. We're on an accelerated trend line here. We had a consolidation area and a breakout recently. Back in here. So, right now we're just looking for long plays. There's really no reason to look for shorts at this point. Until something happens where the trend lines start to break. There's a lot that has to happen before we would start looking at shorts. So as of right now, we had a few trades that did trigger this morning, but some of them did close lower that we'll go through real quick. The first one that triggered was GPC, Genuine Parts. That one did trigger over 88.23. Closed back below it. Our alert. This is a stock that we probably could take a position on. However, earnings are let's see here, the 21st. So we're gonna kind of pass for right now. I'd rather see a more definitive breakout and let earnings go past. The other one that we're looking at that did trigger was AMT. So AMT did trigger over 90.46 this morning, and it held that, and it closed above that this afternoon. So that's actually going to be the first position we do enter for the model portfolio, AMT, which I will circle back to at the end to just go over position sizing real quick. The next one was MMM, 3M. This one did push above this morning, this 145.65. However, it did close lower on the day, therefore no trade, and the alert goes back on, for another day. Maybe it'll trigger tomorrow, maybe not. We'll see. But at this point, no trade in MMM. EQR. Equity Residential. Again, same thing. It did close trigger above 63.19 this morning. However, it closed below that. So again, no trade in that. And Amazon, AMZN. This morning it opened right basically at our alert of 33 or 337. But it did close lower on the day. So, that alert will go back in place for another day. Again, maybe it'll trigger sometime this week, sometime soon, but with earnings coming up, we may pass on that depending on when it does trigger. And GMCR. GMCR is a lot of topping tails in this area. Topping tail meaning, it moves higher throughout the day, but closes towards the bottom of the range for the day. So I actually did change the alert and moved it up from the 125.49 to the 128 area. And I'd really like to see a close above these topping tails before we take a position in that. And the last one that triggered, or actually two more that triggered, was LinkedIn. Same deal as the other one. It opened above our 170.95 alert, but closed below it. So we'll wait another day on that. And St. Jude. St. Jude obviously gapped up to the 72 area this morning, triggered the alert, but closed below the 70.45 level that we have our alert at. With earnings coming up, looks like on sometime around the 14th. This one's probably not going to trigger this week for us, just because I will take a position before earnings, but I'd rather it be a little bit before that, and no, this way we're not getting in 2 days before earnings. I'd rather at least let the position be on for a couple weeks before before we get in. So we had, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stocks that were positive for the day, and 2 of which will trigger 2 more positions for us. The first one being Apple. I do think I missed this in the weekend update, but it was on my list. I think I just accidentally skipped over it, so we'll just hit it real quick with our analysis. So as you can see, there's a channel moving higher on the weekly. On the daily, we're strong move. It had a nice resting period. This box came into play, and again today we opened at today we opened at right at resistance and moved higher for the rest of the day. We opened at 94, closed at almost 96. Earnings are not until the 22nd, so that gives us about 2 weeks to be in this position, which is kind of what we're looking for, minimum. So we'll enter a position here. Our stop level will be right around this $90 level, and here was our resistance level, 94.29. So again, I'll go over these real quick in the position calculator, just so you guys can see exactly how I size my positions. And the other one that's going to trigger and open besides AMT and Apple is ADM. So ADM, again, it may have triggered on Thursday, but I do not take a position before Thursday, before a holiday, I'm sorry. So today, stronger move higher. And if you watch the the free trade idea, you'll see my analysis on that. But basically, we're going to enter here. Our stop will be this 43.50 level, and we're going to set our stop at that level. And again, it's not an actual stop order, it's just an alert, just the same as the entries. I don't want to be stopped out during the day. I'd rather be stopped out on a close below 43.51. So all of our positions and our entries will be based on closes above and below our levels. So this way, we prevent getting, where a stock goes below and opens below, we get stopped out and it rallies higher. The close is really all that matters to me. So all these positions will be entered on tomorrow at the open. So let's just go over, we'll go over, I guess, Apple real quick and go over the position sizing. So we're going to type in, and I have this in my actual spreadsheet. So Apple, it's going to give us the price. We know our stop level was $90, let's say. Make it a nice even number. So we're going to fill in our $90 number. And the account value, this should be 100,000, sorry. So we're going to risk 0.75%. So we're going to risk $750, which means our position size should be approximately 126 shares, $12,000 investment, and we're going to allocate 12% to it. We're risking $5.97 per share, and 6.2% of the position. So we'll enter that for the open. We'll enter ADM for the open. And again, ADM, our stop was 43.50. And again, we're risking 0.75%, $750. Our position size will be 250 shares. And the last one we're entering is AMT. Sorry if I'm making it dizzy going back and forth. AMT does not want to load. There it goes. AMT, our stop level will be this 88, let's say 87.50. 87.50. And this, of course, does not want to load either. Override it. 90.50. So again, we're going to risk $750, and we're going to risk approximately $3 per share, which gives us 250 shares. So I'll enter those for the morning. So this is what the first three positions, AAPL, Apple, ADM, Archer Daniels Midland, and AMT, American Tower, look like in the spreadsheet that I developed. So as you can see, here's basically all our position sizes that we discussed from the calculator, our stop levels, our initial risk, and then over here will be our profit and loss, which right now is negative because of the commissions that we had to pay. So just to go through a couple more that were positive today. Usually I only look at the positive stocks on the day, just because there's no sense in looking at the negative ones, because if they don't trigger, then there's no sense in looking at them, because they're not going to do anything for us, and they're just either going sideways or going the wrong way. So we'll usually just look at the positive ones. So Apple we discussed, ADM we discussed, AMT we discussed, PLD, Prologis, same thing, moving sideways along this trend line. Again, it could move sideways into this more of a longer term trend line, this weekly trend line. For right now, there's nothing to do on it. St. Jude, we discussed, it opened higher, closed lower. Green Mountain, there was the bunch of topping tails that we had looked at. Kimberly-Clark, again, moving sideways. I really like this setup, but at some point it does have to break out. The longer it goes sideways, it could move sideways into this 107 trend line here, this longer term trend line, with earnings coming up. So it doesn't look like it's going to make too much of a move before earnings. And the last one, XOM, which again moving sideways over 103.50 will be our trigger. Earnings coming up at the end of the month. So that's it for today. This is basically the format I'm going to take it through. Obviously, as we do it a little bit more, it'll be a little bit more refined, where we kind of maybe discuss the alerts that were triggered, and then go through all the remaining stocks that we need to look at, and then the final ones will be our positions. So maybe I won't necessarily do it in alphabetical order or anything like that. But as we move forward, it'll be more refined and it'll be a little bit more consistent. So with that said, if you haven't subscribed to the Free Trade Idea, please do so, and make sure you follow me on Twitter and StockTwits. And with that said, have a great night. See you later.